way of being able to bring a community together, bring people together and knowledge together to be able to share. And that's the main thing that I really want to do with Fight Creative.
The Fight Creative Podcast, hosted by Seb Muirhead and Chan Griffin.
Welcome to the Fight Creative Podcast. My name is Chan Griffin, and I am here with the lovely Anisha Gibbs.
What's up?
She is an amazing stunt woman, and I've been very lucky and fortunate to be able to work with her recently. I'm sure that you'll be able to see all of her credits on IMDb and all of her amazing things that she posts on Instagram and all of those amazing things. And you can tell us a little bit about where to find you at the end as well. I think if you could try and tell me how you sort of started transitioning from what you were doing and then how it sort of all came about that you sort of started into stunts and got into it and why, I guess, would be a really good place to start, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I was living in LA. Well, I moved to LA. I started as a professional dancer. Mm-hmm. I was on tour with T-Pain for a really long time, and I also have a martial arts background. I have a second degree in Kempo and a first degree in Taekwondo. So that was like that was just growing up. Like martial arts was my thing. Like I loved it.
And dancing as well, I guess.
Dancing kind of came after.
Oh, after martial arts.
Yeah, so it's like martial arts was like from 9 to like my 20s. Mm-hmm. And then I started going to school, so I have my social work degree. I started with my dance crew, Case Closed, all day. So I was dancing in college, and then I got wrapped up into that. So I was doing martial arts, and I was training, and it just kind of faded, and I was more into school, doing things like that. And then I booked a job. It's funny. I booked it on a website. It was like, remember MySpace?
Yeah, MySpace.
Okay. I don't know if y'all know about
Holy
this,
moly.
but MySpace.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
I feel like my parents, and they're like, back in my day. But so it was like a website, but for dancers. And they had a contest on there to dance with T-Pain. Entered, won, one of the ones that won. And I was also getting my social work degree at the same time.
Wow. Busy.
So that the contest was kind of like, you won, and then they disappeared on me. And I was like, all right, well, this is fake or something. And then on my graduation day, I had my first worldwide job or dance show on tour with T-Pain. So I ended up going to Atlanta, auditioning with him and a bunch of other people, and he chose like 10 of us out of a big group of people. And then my first show was my college graduation day.
Wow.
So I skipped my graduation. I performed at the show. My mom and dad had like this huge cookout at my house for me. Like it was pretty much way better than a graduation because it was all about me and not about everybody that graduated in my class. So that was pretty cool. And like my parents made like posters and banners, like because I was also leaving to go on tour at the same time. Actually, to come to Australia.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Australia with him for the first time about 10 years ago almost. My first couple jobs with him my first show was in California, San Francisco, and then the tour run started in Australia. We were doing it was a festival called Superfest.
Superfest, okay.
And Winter Beats.
Yeah, right.
So I came almost 4 years in a row to Australia.
How old were you when you started touring like that?
Well, I finished college a little late. It took me a little while to really, the academic side. Probably 2010, I finished, and then I started on tour after that.
Wow.
So it was like right after school.
Yeah, wow.
I did that. That was amazing.
How do you feel like that has sort of developed you as a person now? Like looking back at that must have been such an extreme experience for you, but also such a huge amount of growth must have come from that too as a person, right?
Yes, I feel like my parents raised me very to just pay attention and not take things for granted and to just really look at my surroundings and don't be an idiot when I'm out. So I really took that into consideration when I was doing things, and it was an eye-opener to be able to be at that caliber for the first time on the road. So I just really appreciated what was going on around me, and I just really tried to protect myself at the same time. Because I also knew, like, my parents were, like, stressed, and I was like, I promise I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be on point, and my parents trusted me to take that leap. So I appreciated that, and that they instilled things like that in me, which then led me to just really, I felt like I was always very mature for my age. So doing martial arts growing up, teaching at a young age, teaching the little kids all day, then teaching the adult classes. So I feel like that being instilled in me gave me discipline when I was on tour as a dancer.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I was also super bougie because we get into every club, we get into every bar for free. And then when I was on my own, I was like, I have to wait in line?
Yeah, what is this?
Not waiting in line, not doing it. So that was also fun too.
Yeah, amazing. Do you feel like going on tour and experiencing all of those things, plus the martial arts and plus your parents in the way that they brought you up, really helped you transition into stunts? Because for me, I think you have a really amazing work ethic, and when you show up on set, you're so focused and kind, but have a very professional way of being, and do go out of your way to make sure that everything is done well for your actor. I don't know, like, do you feel like it's something that you've learnt over time within the industry, or do you think it's something that you grew up with that sort of helped you get there? You know what I mean?
I feel all of the above.
Yeah.
Like growing up, having younger siblings, and then doing martial arts growing up, learning how to teach at a young age. I also did a lot of dance programs in school, and my dance teachers took me under their wings and taught me how to teach.
Yeah, wow.
In that type of sense. So I actually, in high school, I started teaching after-school dance program. And it was a part of like a worldwide program for nonprofit. So they had like art and music and science and then dance. So we would go to the schools. I had to learn how to speak to the kids. And you know, you're speaking to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Like 8th graders are like, what? What do you want? So it was really fun to like lure them into your class.
Yeah.
My teachers were amazing, Miss Lalo and Miss Sprague, like hands down the most beautiful people. They're my mentors. Like I'm in contact with them to this day. They just taught me how to teach and instilled so much in me for that. And then at the same time, my martial arts, also learning how to teach. So just dealing with a lot of different personalities, like being responsible for things at a young age, and knowing that's what I wanted to do. And I just like the development and the art of creating of a person or a people. Like, okay, this is what we're creating. I want to help make that come to life and have fun.
Do you feel like some of your mentors, like your dance mentors and your martial arts teachers, were like that too, that they wanted to, they were more about giving back to the community and giving back to the students as well, or were they more sort of like trying to build a mega empire and stuff? Or
I think their outlook on life really I gravitated towards, and I liked that about them, and that's what kept me around them, and that's what kept them around me. So I feel like it was a mutual thing. Like they saw something in me that I didn't see yet, and it was something I was already attracted to, because I feel like that's why they pulled me and taught me those things and knew I was going to have the discipline to carry that on.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, sorry, we got off a little bit off subject, but I think it's really, really important, because for me it feels like it's really laid a foundation on how you've become so successful in stunts because of the background that you have, and also the outlook that you've developed over life because of all of the beautiful influences you've had in your life, and the choices that you've made, I guess, to follow some things and not follow other things, which happens so often with our lives. It's so easy to take a wrong turn, I think,
It is.
But so going into the stunt world, what do you feel like? When you went in, were you sort of all gleamy-eyed and like, wow, this is amazing, or were you sort of pretty level-headed as you went in and then slowly grew into it? Like, how did it happen that way?
It was a mixture. My first, I can say it was exciting, and so I'm a dancer, and it's just like creating goals for yourself, and I want to succeed, and I want to be in a film, and I want to be in a show, and I want to do award shows, and I want to do this and that. So I'm trying to set a standard for myself as a dancer. And when I started stunts, I felt like I was like letting my dancer side down because I wasn't pursuing that the way I was at one point. And then I started training more in stunts. So it didn't last very long, but it was kind of like, oh, like everybody's gonna think I failed and I just left and went to stunts because that's easier, or whatever the case may be, like that was in my head at that moment. But it didn't last very long. I did a job, and there were dancers involved, and I was doing stunts, and this is probably like my second job. And I was getting ratcheted back, an explosion to the chest, but I got the job because I danced. So it was at the Hollywood Bowl, and I had to be the performer, and she got blasted on stage. So, and I have this mask on, and I'm like, before I went in, I was like, oh my God, I know all these dancers.
Yeah.
They're gonna look at me like, she left us for stunts. Like, like in your head you get crazy. And I'm just so scared to see everybody. I'm like, oh, like, I just have to do good on the stunts and this and that. And then I saw everybody, and it's all in my head, because everybody's like, Nish, you're doing stunts, what? You're dancing with us, and that, like, it was just all love. And I feel like, it was just one of those when I just got a little wrapped up in my own head about things, and I'm like, oh, nobody cares what you're, like, as long as you're a good person and you're doing whatever you have to do, like, and even if they do care and judge you and all those things, it's whatever you want to do anyway at the end of the day.
Totally.
So, but everybody was like, yo! So it was so nice. Even the choreographer, I knew the choreographer, like, it was super sweet. Hit my dance steps, got ratcheted back.
Yeah, wow.
It was great. So I feel like that, in that moment, I was like, oh wow, like, I could do this.
I can be a stunt person.
Yeah, and like,
it's okay. Right?
It's okay. Like, I don't need to justify why I'm not dancing as much anymore, or, because it's my world, it's my life, and I'm the only one that's gonna make me happy. Yeah. So that kind of set that tone for me, and then continued on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I've really noticed how, because I don't know if you know, but I really consider it quite rare to see people, especially in this industry, who wear their heart on their sleeve here, and I'd consider you one of them. You really come out being the person that you are, and there's no sort of falsehoods about that either in front of other people. You just come out, say what you need to say, and be who you want to be, and if people are okay with it, they're okay, and if they're not, they're not. So it's fine, and it doesn't matter either way, But that's one of the amazing things I like about you, and I think it's a really amazing attribute to have in the film industry, and I think a lot of people just got to try and give up that sort of fear, to be able to, like, oh, what are people going to think of me, or like of my true self,
right,
you know what I mean? Do you have any kind of tips on how people can let go of those sort of anxiety fears, I guess, you know, like?
I think for myself and running into people that have fears and things like that, I feel like it's more because it's such a, it's some people like have like, the anxiety is crazy.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's like one day at a time type of vibe.
Yeah.
To really, if someone's gonna like break it down and like really try to like overcome, like maybe just like focus on one task. Like today, I'm going to tell my actor they did a great job 3 times. If you're not a talker, like if I'm not like just as an example, like okay, I'm not that confident in giving, critiquing and this and that and third. So today, 3 times I'm gonna make sure I say, and you could say, I'm gonna say it out of 10. I'm gonna be like, hey, great job, you did good today.
Yeah.
Or you could just be like, oh, hey, good job. Like whatever fits your personality. I feel like doing things like that, having small goals will make you feel better in the long run and not feel like oh man, like if you're like, I'm gonna nail all the choreo, tell my actor this, do this, I'm gonna do this, and then you don't succeed, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're just putting too much expectation.
Too much expectation on yourself.
Yeah.
And nobody
Unrealistic,
else is,
right?
yeah, very unrealistic.
Yeah.
So I feel like small goals bring big achievements. And it just helps you, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I did that.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna, and then, so I just feel like taking little things that we're afraid of and like maybe picking a small piece of it and trying to succeed and overcome it that day. The next day, if you don't say great job to your actor 3 times, we already had a good day. Let's now focus on something else, like, and just keep it pushing forward like that. So I feel like with people that have high anxieties and, because I also don't want to say it's like, you need to just be confident, because it's just not about being confident. Like you could be really confident about what you do and things like that. Maybe you're not a great speaker. Maybe you're not, you just have different things you just need to work on to build and to like, just grow from.
Yeah, for sure. I always feel like it is one of those things that it's really hard to be able to look at yourself and really understand what you need to work on, and then figure and put yourself in those uncomfortable situations to be able to grow and become what you really want to become, you know. But I think the advice of what you're giving is just doing small steps day by day, giving yourself a few tasks that are achievable, not unachievable,
Right.
is just such a valuable way to go because it just makes it so that everyone can try and take that little step forward, which will eventually become, you know, huge bounds. Yeah.
And also, I completely forgot about this.
No.
Something that like really, really built my confidence was words of affirmation. It is so hard to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, I'm great, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm all these things. It is so difficult. And I had a list of things before I started, as I was training, before I like booked my first stunt job, the first 4 months, because I was like switching my whole mindset. And I had my words of affirmations. I had like the goals I wanted to achieve, and I would look at myself in the mirror every day and just read off my poster.
Wow.
And it was so, and I just remember like, like saying it and like, all right, done. And then by the end, like I was just saying them to myself, like I would just say them. And then I booked my first stunt job, Ultra Carbon. And a car came to pick me up. I was like, oh, this is fancy. And before I left the house, I looked and I was like, oh, I didn't say my affirmations. And I went back into my room and I said all my affirmations. I started crying. Because I'm just like, this is everything I've been like asking for and wanting and training for and working so hard for. and I'm staring at myself, like easily saying it, all of it, and like just tears are coming down. I was like, good for you. Like, congratulations. Like, congratulate yourself.
Yeah, for
Because we get so worked up on like beating ourselves up about the things we didn't succeed in this week that sometimes we need to just stop and like really congratulate ourselves and like tell yourself you did a great job.
Yeah, sounds like I need to do some affirmations myself.
We'll write some down for you.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
So
that
yeah,
sounds great.
and then I'm crazy. So as soon as I leave, I'm like, all right, now you need to, you know, and then you beat yourself up after.
Yeah.
But give yourself what you need.
Do you think that you, like, you know, when you get on a set, for instance, and there's obviously always going to be really hard times or stressful times or physically challenging times as well. Do you implement some sort of positive self-talk and affirmations then as well, or how do you sort of deal with that mentally? Is there any like little tricks that you use, or?
I feel like before a big week, I talk to myself a lot, and I let myself know that what's to come. I'm like, okay, you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to get a lot of sleep. You're not going to get your turnarounds. You're going to have to, like, we're doing 3 a.m.s. Like, you need to be on your choreo. You need to be, I'll just give myself a list of things that needs to be accomplished for, like, a crazy, hectic week. So when I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, you prepped yourself. Don't let that get to you. And I just kind of remind myself on the work that I did before that week started. So I'm always like, no, don't get stressed. Take your second. Talk about it to yourself later. Right now, you need to have your game. Like, there's no time to look weak, feel weak, act weak. We could do that later. I can go beat myself up later, sleep on it. Like my mom always says, she's like, all right, cry. You can have your moment. She said, but when you wake up, we're back at it. And I'm like, okay. So like, and I use that on difficult weeks and things like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a really good strategy. It feels like you definitely do a lot of self-talk and make lists and, you know, have everything really well planned out as a person, like in certain things. And obviously all of us slip, like, you know, you can write all these things out and say all these things, but it can still all go bad. Right?
Absolutely. And I'm not even saying I write this down. No. Like, this is like in my head. Yeah. Like, I could be better, and I could write it down and bring it to fruition more by doing that part. But, you know, it's just in my head, that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's an amazing way of being able to just, you know, self-regulate, I guess,
yes.
and handle really difficult weeks, which is what is going to happen to every person who's in the stunt industry. You're going to have good weeks and bad weeks for sure. And I feel like it doesn't really get talked about enough. Being able to handle the stress mentally and physically, and strategies and tools to be able to do that. I think, for me anyway, it would be so valuable, and it is so valuable to hear the ways that you deal with it. And hopefully, as we get more guests on, we'll get even more strategies and things that people use over time as well. Is there anything, now that you're sort of more of a, I would say more established as a performer, is there any sort of things that you would have liked to have known way back when you sort of started and first stepped on set? Is there any sort of advice or tips and tricks that you could give to new performers trying to get into the industry, and things that they could do on set, as well as maybe things that they could focus on and train on, or you know, just ways of being in life, I guess, you know?
I learn the call sheet. I think learning the call sheet is very important. Knowing what's on it, knowing what scene you're on, knowing when you're coming into play, knowing when you're not playing, knowing why you're playing. It took me a while to figure that part out, because I would just show up, because I'm here to do choreography and I'm gonna kill it. And then after a while, okay, now you're killing it, now what? Like, now what do you focus on? Now what do you do? I just feel like it's really helpful to know that side.
Yeah.
And then also learning everybody's name. That's been a big thing that I've been practicing lately. Because when you need help, you're going to need to find somebody. You're going to need to call them out. Just saying hello to somebody and calling them by their name will get you 10 steps further than if you didn't.
Yeah.
And it's just so helpful. Like if I'm looking for a weapon, if I don't know where the lighting is, what's A cam, what's B cam, like being able to call somebody's name, I'll be like, hey, what camera you want to get? Oh, or just even saying hello in the morning and things like that. I feel like we get so wrapped up into our own work that we lose that side. And maybe I'm just speaking from my inner, like I was just I assumed I was bad at learning people's names because my dad is bad at learning people's names.
I'm terrible at names.
So my dad would always be like, he'd always be like, I don't really remember who that was. And I just took on that. I was like, like I just took on that same vibe for a long time. And I'd be on set, I'm like, there's 300 people here. I don't have time for this. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Like I would say what's up, but I would never like try.
Yeah.
So I actually like started to try. And I'm like, oh wow, like I'm better than I thought I was at this. Like I have a list. I'll show you. I have a list in my phone. It'll say like camera, and it'll just have the people and catering, people's names, just so because like writing it down real quick and hearing it, and I'm like, okay. Going back, my friend, actually the last show I was just on, my friend Ilko, he was doing this, and he would just look at me because I think I was like, I'm just bad at remembering names. He's like, are you? And I was like, I mean, yeah. He was like, but have you tried? And I was like, no. So then he showed me his list in his phone, and I was like, oh wow, like, and then I just picked up the same method, and it's just been very helpful.
Yeah, for sure. The power of knowing someone's name.
And just set life. Like,
So simple, but there's a lot of power behind it, for sure. Yeah, that's great. I've got to start doing that too. I'm stealing all your tips.
Take them.
So, to consolidate some of the things that we've been talking about, like names on set and learning the call sheet is super important. I completely agree with those things. I also really agree with, and this is out of a lot of people's control, but upbringing and surrounding yourself with the right kinds of mentors and the right kinds of people. And obviously not everyone will always have those opportunities, but for me in my life, I've had so many amazing mentors that have come into my life at the right times that have helped steer my direction into a less tragic way and a better path, I think, that have really helped me become who I am. So I think positive mentors has really helped you as well in your life with your family, siblings, as well as the martial arts teachers. And I guess, the way that sort of evolved, it feels like it's just been because of those singular things, having those opportunities within the dance world have helped you focus and not go off the path, because I'm sure that you would probably have a lot of friends or people you've worked with that do go out and party lots and just like ruin it, I guess, in a way, right? Like it must happen all the time. So I think the unique experience of you having martial arts experience and mentors would have really helped you become even more successful, I guess. What else did we talk about? Being able to take one step at a time.
Yes.
With things, and small achievements equal big achievements too. I think that's an amazing thing for people to take home. That if you set yourself up with small goals that are achievable, then it will help you grow into the person that you really want to be. Not only in industry, I guess, but in life too, right? Just great stuff. Yay! I love it. I love it. So is there anything else that you would sort of think that are some of the do's and don'ts on set? Like, I know that you know, when I go on set, there's certain people do things, and I'm like, oh, what's going through your head, like doing that?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, and then there's, I guess, a lot of things that you might see as well from other professionals that you go, oh, that's really good. Like, I'm going to write that down, and like I'm going to use that as a tool, because I'm guessing, like, from our talk, you do write little lists of things and protocol, or like ideas of how you want to adopt things and be better at different things as well. Like, is there any kind of little things that you can think of off the top of your head that you would?
Do's and don'ts. I think people speaking out of turn. Sometimes you want to save the day, and you think you might have the answer. But we are on a huge film set, and I feel like we have so much to learn. And I actually literally learned this from Kyle Gardner the other day. We were just talking about being patient. Wait. Hear everything, hear what's happening. Give it a second, and then come in after. You don't have to be the first one or say the first thing that's on your mind, because it's like such a team situation.
Yeah.
And stunts is only one part of it. So I feel like sometimes we get really passionate and we want to like fix it, and you think you have the answer, but it's almost like there is still a hierarchy. And I feel like, out of respect for the project, like if you were working with your actor and I'm there for the training, I would come to you and tell you, oh, he's doing this or he's doing that, or this feels a little funny, can I tell him this, or can you tell him that? I would never, off top, first day, like, hey, yeah, no, go like this, oh yeah, do this, or yeah, come in, did it. Like, I think that's an etiquette people don't realize. Because if you know your actor and you've built a relationship with them, you know how they move and how they talk, how their vibe. You can me as an individual, like I can see my actress come in and I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a good day. Like I can tell she's feeling good today. Or like, I think she's a little under the weather today. Like I'm not sure if, so somebody else's energy coming in can disrupt how they're feeling because that person didn't check in with me. And so I just feel like that's really important, because the actor has 50 million people talking to them at once.
Yeah.
And then we have one more person that just wants to run and talk to them. You don't need, like, sometimes you don't need that. So when I feel like, or even if I'm on set, like I'll go to this coordinator first. Hey, is it okay if I give them this note? Sometimes it's like, nah, because I just told them like 4 things. Oh, okay, so it's good for everybody to communicate before trying to step in and say something.
Exactly.
Because I could be saying something and they're like, well, so-and-so just told me to do something completely different. And I'm like, oh shit, now I look like a jerk because I just decided to blurt out, do this instead.
Yeah.
So it's nice to check in with everybody before
Definitely.
making moves.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I guess also like just knowing that your team has your back with things as well, like that you can talk amongst your team before making a group decision about something that, you know, is for the production or whatever as well. So you don't always have to feel like you have to be the one to say, yeah, this is the way or whatever. It's more like, oh, what do you think about this idea, Kyle? Or what do you think that this would work? Or instead of putting it as this is the way to do it.
absolutely.
You know? I think, some people come in a little bit too overconfident with what they feel like is the right answer. But a lot of the time on film sets, you just don't know.
Right. Like I can see a shot and I'm like, hey, the way her hand is that okay? Like, are you okay with that? Like, I'll ask the director, is that okay?
Yeah.
'Cause
Instead of saying, oh, her hand position's wrong.
Exactly. And so if you're good, I'm good. Because now, like, if you're gonna move on, I just want to flag this. And they're like, no, that's fine because we could da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So
It all comes
what you
down to
just-
communication.
communication in the way you say it.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
you just said, not like, her hand's messed up. Can we da-da-da? And they're like, oh, whoa. Like,
Hold on.
they're like, first of all. But yeah, like you said, it's the way you say it. It's how you're carrying yourself about it, and you'll get your answers before
Yeah.
you'll get answers before you want to give a response to something you may not need to comment about.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because I feel like sometimes like the stunt, the stunt teams that work on productions, that like, and ourselves included, we're like, oh, we're the best. Everyone loves us. All these other departments love us. What we do, we come in, we do this, and we save the day. We're like awesome and stuff. And then like you actually for me, I've actually heard other times that other departments are like, the stunt teams, they're so bad. They suck. They disrupt everything. They come in and they think they're the best and blah, blah, blah. And then, so I think sometimes it really is making sure that you're working well with all the other departments and not feeling like you're the be and end all. It's kind of like when you watch footage of yourself, like doing choreography or whatever, amongst a fight of like 10 people, you're always just focused on you.
Yes.
What you did wrong.
Yes.
And all that. Like you don't actually see the whole picture of everyone else. Like you're like, oh, I should have done this, or oh, that person didn't come in at the right time because of like I had to do this or whatever. So it's all about you or whatever. And I feel like sometimes as a stunt department, it's hard to get out of that narrow tunnel vision and try and see the whole picture and go, we have to work together as a team, not only as a stunt team, but as a production team to help each other. And that's what I really love about Kyle, that he really makes a huge effort to be able to help other departments and get everyone to sort of make sure that we're doing the right thing by all the other departments to make everything sort of seamless, I feel like the way that you're saying the things about like communication and asking in the right context in the right way.
Absolutely, because exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
We, as stunts, we're the one department that works with all the departments. So the way we treat the other departments is going to reflect on how they treat us.
Yeah.
Like we work with set deck, props, wardrobe. Like we work with
The
all
DOPs, the directors,
cameras.
everyone,
Like
right?
we're working with everybody.
Costume,
Yeah. So the way, like you just said, the way you communicate and talk to everybody, and you'll just get so much more back from them if you just show everybody just as much as respect as what you want.
And it all starts with their name, right?
It all starts with their name.
Oh, great. So, there's so many questions I want to ask you.
Let's get it,
it's
because
so
we
great.
only have.
Sorry.
Me and Chan have been working our butts off, and we've been trying to do this. He's about to leave. I'm about to leave. The show has been working us. So we found some time. Y'all know what time it is right now? My hands are dirty from set. You don't understand. I have this on because I gotta put a wig on tomorrow. I was trying to be a little cute.
But you look great.
Thank
and you've
you.
done great. So, I don't have a dance background. And I don't know if you would know exactly how you became so good at remembering choreography and stuff, but is there any sort of things that you've learned from your teachers or developed yourself or have taught other kids and other people to be able to help them remember with movement and things? Because, as a choreographer, sometimes I have a lot of trouble remembering everything and remembering things as well. So is there anything that you could say that would, that you use like as tools to help?
I love to sing my choreography.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed to say every single strike. because it's just helping me remember everything. Like even dance auditions, I'd be like, oh, if anybody wants to learn this section, I'm teaching it over here, because now I get to, it was a selfish move. I was helping people, but being selfish at the same time, because I get to repeat it and repeat it. Okay, it's 1 and 2 and a hit and down and whatever. And then when I'm with my actors, I use that same method. Like I'm not afraid on set to yell out the choreo if it needs that, or if I feel like I know they're stuck. Like I'll say like a little code word that we have that they know to then what the next move is. And then also just like learning how your actor learns. Everybody learns different. The way you teach could be one way, but the way somebody learns could be a whole different way. It's like love languages. So if, like I had one actress, she was the dancer, Renee Goldsberry, and she did musical theater. And she loved that I was like, it's bang, bang. And she was like, okay, bang, bang. And then I was like, draw this one out, go boom. And then she just loved all the sound effects. And then I just remember Larnell Stovall was one of my first stunt coordinators. He was like, what's this boop bop bang bang? And I was like, I don't know, but it's working. And he was just cracking up because he loved it. He was like, good job, cool.
That's awesome. That's such a good tool.
But
I'm
yeah.
definitely going to use that.
Even in training, like I'll learn like a super hard like boxing combo. And I'm like, left, right, hook, sweep, bob and weave, duck under, slip, and I'm like saying it because I'm just like, if I don't say it for the first 30 minutes, then it's just gonna leave me. Yeah. But once I keep saying it and saying it and saying it, like it's so helpful. And I feel like sometimes it's embarrassing for people to, to just be screaming out the
but you get over it,
beats
I guess, if you do it a lot.
I get over it because I'm like, my results are great. So I would rather just rep it out loud, and it helps it click. And I do, like when I'm training with people, I'm just like, if you just say it, I promise it'll change like everything. And you just see the transformation. So.
Yeah. Is there anything that you do, because I know that, everyone moves quite differently, but as a double, you have to sort of try and figure out a way of being able to move more like them as well. But obviously just, remember all the choreo and stuff, all of that, and not show your face. But is there any sort of things that you have learnt along the way to be able to emulate their movement, or is there anything that you can think of that would help people get better at that,
I think for repeating movement and things like that, it makes me think of, like, how we joke, like, as stunts. I feel like a lot of it, like, we'll act like we tripped on something, or it's almost like we're playing and joking, but it's also practice. Like, we're also, like, doing little things, so, or as actors learn different accents and this and that, like, sometimes, like, I'll just watch her walk to Crafty, and I'm like, okay. Like, it just watching them outside of stunts. And don't get it twisted, I get yelled at all the time. Priyanka's always looking at me like, stop being Superwoman. You just got beat up. And I'm like, you're right, my bad. Like, and and that's great. And we have that good relationship. So she could be like, whoa, like, you're amazing right now. I need you to tone it down. I'm like, cool. And that's also like we have to embody the character. Yeah. So we always have to keep that in mind. And along with the call sheet I was talking about is like reading the script and knowing what's supposed to happen in that moment. Me and Steve Murdoch, we was talking about this. He was like, we play pretend so much, and like TV, like people can get blasted and they just keep going. But like, what if that really happened to us? What would you actually do if someone punched you dead in the face? Like you would be messed up. Yeah. So really trying to implement what the actor needs and what they want in that moment. And that also comes with, once you learn your choreo, then you can start playing with the emotions and the feelings behind certain things. But if you don't know your choreo that well, and you're depending on other people, and you're depending on the other side to throw a hook punch so you know to duck and bob and weave underneath, that takes away from you being able to perform to your full potential.
Yeah, sure.
So
Doing your homework. I
doing your
guess,
homework,
right?
really learning your choreo, and really learning both sides, A side and B side. You want to know both sides. Because also when you're with your actor by yourself, who's going to do the other side? You have to do the other side. So sometimes I see a lot of doubles like depend on the other doubles double to be there, or they just don't know the other side that well.
Yeah.
And you need to know both sides just as well as you know your own choreo.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just feel like that's helpful for the emotional parts, or you hit your act, like it hit in the face, and like being able to say, from my end anyway, like being able to like sing the choreo to her, and she gets it easier, or that repetition.
Yeah. Do you like, because I mean, I've only known you on this job, but you have, for me, it looks like you've really developed a deep relationship with your actor, with Priyanka. She's, and it's, I think, like, some actors like that, and some actors don't want that at all either. But I guess, did that develop for you over time, that trust and relationship, or like, is there any advice that you would give to stunt people trying to, or becoming a double for the first time, like where boundaries lie, if you're going too far or too little, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. It was a trust that was built because, especially too, like, you know, she's had other doubles in the past, and just coming into things, I just feel like my personal passion for the overall picture was felt and appreciated, and I feel like her passion was just as much, if not more, and I just really tried to embody what she needed without her telling me what she needed sometimes.
yeah,
And I just feel like she's so particular,
yeah,
like the way she moved, like she loves like the story behind it, and actually a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is because of her, because
yeah,
she's like, Anisha, like what the scene before, even the scene before this, like what were we doing? Like what was I
Yeah.
doing? And I'm like, oh shit,
yeah,
you're right. And then that racks my brain, and I'm like, I should know that. And then that
Yeah.
puts me on 1,000, and then I'm figuring it out.
So you do sit down with her sometimes and discuss character, discuss the script, and she does tell you like what she's feeling and what the way her character is going at certain parts as well. Like
Yeah,
this,
absolutely. Like even for the bluff, like she sat me down and we watched a like a storyboard trailer that she put together that she thought, like the bottom house fight. She was like, I want my ass to get kicked, and here's the references, and this is why. And she gives me the background, and I'm just like, okay, like the fact that she can trust me with that information, that makes me like go 10 times harder for her. And take that knowledge and like, it's your character. It's a part of stunts. It's like,
yeah,
I'm also an actor in my own sense, or in my own being. Like I'm trying to embody and help create this character. So
yeah. I feel like seeing Gareth as well, like Gareth Hadfield. He's like such an amazing double, because I feel like he does really go deep within the story and the actor, and really listens to what they say and asks them questions about it, so that he can figure out the choices that they've made and why they've made them. And also it just soothes, like it becomes a part of the way that you move as well, because you have a deeper understanding
absolutely.
of the process.
Absolutely.
I guess,
And it also makes your actor feel better. We get a lot of, well, why would I do that?
you know?
if you don't have the answer, I don't expect her to listen to me if I don't have the answer for that. So it's good to know your intentions.
Yeah.
I was with James Young and Mark Mashoni, and they were like super big on like intention, like our intention. Like, why did you just pick that up? What is your background to be picking that up? Why did you pick that up and not this? Yeah. And when you pick that up, and Don Tai was big on this too. It was just like, why would you do those things? We're not just making choreo just to make choreo.
Yeah.
And sometimes, some shows call for that, and some there's the real, like, you just gotta pull the story and like use that as your tool, rather than just like, well, I know how to make up choreo. Like, I want my choreo to be in it because I just think this is cool.
Yeah. Is there anything that you feel like people should know about when they're training actors for the first time? Like, is there a process or a protocol that you go through? Do you do some assessments of them? Like, I know that you've known Pri for such a long time, but like, I'm guessing you would have also had to train other actors and step in from time to time. Is there anything that you would recommend of do's and don'ts for people, or some tips to be able to help get an actor up to speed?
For me, I just think it's personality, it's reading the room, it's knowing how hard to push them, how far you can go with them. If you see 30 minutes, they're already done and their mind is fatigued. Yeah. There's no point of you trying to throw some more choreography onto them, because they're not going to like you and you're not going to like them at the end of the day. Yeah. I was working with Halle Berry a lot. I did John Wick 3, and it was, I've just been blessed to work with like beautiful actresses like that want to learn and want to know the fight, and she was the same way. So it was easy for me to work with her, because she was always like, I'm gonna learn this, and I was like, oh, okay, let's go. So we would just get into it, but then I also knew, I have to protect her too. So I'm like, all right, 3 more times, that's it, like no more. And then sleep on it, come back, and she would kill it. Yeah. So I feel like my actresses, I've been very blessed to have actresses that really want to be there, really want to work hard, and really want to do the job. Like, they don't want to just sit back and let their double like do all the work. Like, they want to do the choreo. They want to be in that position. So it's been nice, and I haven't had difficult moments to where I'm like pulling teeth to try to like figure stuff out with people.
Yeah, that is a blessing.
So I mean, I don't know, but like I said, it's like reading the room. Like, I'll bow out before I have a difficult moment, because I'm like, if the person doesn't feel well, I'm not going to push them to then put us in an awkward situation, or just them not feeling up to it, and just reading the room sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm guessing a lot of that would have been coming from like teaching for so long with martial arts. You see that and you experience it with kids and with others. When you need to push them, and when to be compassionate. Right. But then you also know when you have to be a bit more hardline as well.
I definitely left that out. But yeah, sometimes it's like you actually need them to do some things, and you're like, listen, we got to get this done today. Please just give me one more. And I feel like when they respect you and you have that good relationship, they're like, oh, I can't stand you right now, but I'm going to do it. Yeah. And I'm like, if that's the case, that's fine. Yeah. Like, Priyanka always looks at me. She's always like, I'm like, just one more, girl, come on. She's like, all right, cool. And she kills it. Like, she kills the whole thing. I'm like, I knew it. Get out of here. For sure. So, and then that makes them happy too, because they're like, oh, okay, like, I can push myself and get to that level. So.
Sorry. So we'll probably wrap up soon, but I did want to ask, like, because you're very goal orientated, like, where do you sort of find yourself if you could make a wish? Where do you want to be in 5-10 years, do you think?
I want to be producing and directing. I love projects I'll wake up and I'll be like, I want to make or I want to create, and figuring out how to do that and going about that process is so fun and fulfilling to me. I just love that process. So I feel like my job and what I do is leading me in that direction. Like we were saying, like working with all departments, knowing what lens we're on, knowing when they're gonna rack focus, knowing how the light is moving and how long it takes to get shots, how long the setups are.
Because all of this information, like we were talking about this the other day, weren't we, that is so valuable for you to know as a stunt person too, right? To be able to talk to your actor, because sometimes your actor that you're doubling will ask you these very questions, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Like Gareth was on set. He was like, "Okay, this camera's over here. That's on a 30. This is this. This is that." And I was like, "I'm gonna do that next time." Like it's like stuff and like learning from your peers that are just as passionate as you. Like, so it was nice to see him do things like that, because I also see my actors ask those questions. So I'm like, if I can cut the middleman out and get them that information, that's less that they have to worry about and think about, and that'll help the process be a little smoother.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in and
Thank you for
giving
having
us
me.
your time.
Thank you for even allowing me to be a part and feeling that I am just able to be here and communicate and talk about things.
Oh,
and
it's so great.
I just appreciate you for asking me.
No, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you sharing, because a lot of people don't. They don't share insights into how they deal with things, and I think it's like what we were talking about. It is all about communication and helping each other grow, and not trying to just hold things to themselves. You know, and you know, helping others get better so that you get better too, in a way.
Absolutely.
You know?
This world is so big.
Yeah.
And there's no point of holding all the information in. And I also feel like because we are in stunts, it's like, you guys are, hey, like, don't cry, don't do this. It's almost like we're not supposed to have feelings.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to be the tough guy.
Totally.
You're supposed to be able to tackle 30 times and not say anything. Like, I'm not always that person. I'm like, hey, like, let's make this safe. Let's get it right now. Like, let's get everything around us, because I feel like sometimes other departments are just like, we could do the craziest stairfall, and then they're like, oh, props needs to be actually right here and not there. And you're like, I just did this whole thing.
Broke my elbow.
Yeah, and you're just like walking out like this, and they're like, oh, can you just do it again? And it's almost like, no, I can't just do it again.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a bit scared about like asking them about something, you know, or your boss maybe, or something. You're like, oh, you know, I really don't know about this stunt. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to be safe doing it. What do you think? You know, Steve, like, do you think this is going to be safe? And he's like, well, you know, maybe it's like, it's okay, but maybe you need to think about having a mat over here or something like that. But having a person to bounce things off of, and not being afraid to ask and talk to people about it.
Absolutely.
So great,
I
right?
think it's weird that I haven't touched on that, but I feel like that's my biggest, one of the biggest rules that I've had, and I've learned, one of the first things I've learned doing stunts. If you do not know how to do it, say something. Yeah. Because
don't pretend.
Don't
right?
pretend. Like, you'll get hurt. The people around you will get hurt. There was one time, there was a film, and I got a phone call, and it was somebody, I forget who it was. They was like, hey, do you know how to ride horses? Not to the caliber that you need me to ride horses at. I'm not afraid of riding horses, and I always lead with, I'm not afraid to learn, and I'm at a beginner level. Then I leave it to them to then make that decision to let me do that job or not. And he was like, well, I appreciate you for saying that, but I need somebody that has a high skill because we need this, that, and the third. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I should have just said I knew. No, I shouldn't have. That's a live animal. I don't need. I said, you know what? Forget it. And then I got a phone call from Ben Scott, literally the next day. This is all after COVID. Like literally, like once COVID was like over, he called me and says, "Hey, have you ever done Fireburn?" And I'm like, shit, another another situation. And I was like, be honest. No, but I'm really willing to learn, and I'm not afraid. And he was like, upside down? I was like, shit. Okay, yeah, I'm down. He was like, all right, well, I'll walk you through it. It's not as difficult as it sounds. And I was able to do it.
Amazing, right?
Because I still vocalize, like, I've never done it, but I'm down to learn. And
imagine if you went there and they assumed that that they thought that you had done it before, and you're like, I haven't done anything. Like, what am I meant to be doing? Like, where do I put the gel? Like,
yeah, you look stupid.
It's stupid.
And now
right?
you're setting a name for yourself of
Exactly.
not knowing what you should know when you say you know it, and then that you're setting a reputation for yourself to follow you, because the industry is huge, but also things get around.
Yeah.
So I just prefer to say I've never done it.
Yeah.
Sometimes even if I have done things, nope, I've never done it. Can you walk me through it? Because it's just helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I know that in Australia, there isn't enough work, there isn't as much work for females as there is for males here. It's just the way that it is for some reason in the film industry. I'd love to change that, because I have strong feelings about having a little bit more equality, because it's not just for equality's sake, but that just as a part of a stunt team, when there are more females involved, there is just a better, more even feeling in the group. Like, I almost feel like guys have, I don't know what it is exactly, but it gives them even more rights to express themselves, and it forces everyone to sort of become better as a team, like having that female energy on a team. But yet, to me, it's still very uneven in Australia, and I'm not sure how it is over in America. But is there anything that you could sort of give me insights into about what it is, some of the good things, bad things, things that people might not realize that it would be good for people to know about being a female performer in today's world?
Starting in the industry, it seemed like for me that if there were women on the team, it was because they were doubling. And I also know that there's not as many women to maybe pull from and to use. I also feel like this all stems from coordinators as well, like when they create their team, to make sure they have the equality and have at least one or two women a part of the core team. That also comes to like women also like step up your game, like put yourself out there a little more, like create more fights, create more content for yourself, so that way nobody can shut you down. Because for women and for people of color, it just takes 10 more steps than your average person to prove yourself. But it also takes like people like you, like for you to even ask that question, that's the first step. And for you to like want to build that equality, because I feel like you as a leader, if you have that, then your team sees that and they see it as a norm. And now when they create their teams, they'll see it as a norm to have a female a part of their team or a person of color. Not just like if you're just used to seeing one thing growing up, that's what you're used to.
Yeah.
So I feel like the industry has situations like that, and it's such an old system that I feel like that's maybe why things are kind of set. I feel like things are slightly changing. There's women like Dee Bryant, like I look up to. She's one of my mentors. She's coordinating and doing things like that, like Heidi Moneymaker. Like she's my ultimate, like I want to be her. So like I need to go about things, and she shuts it down. Like nobody can ever question anything she does or says because she's so good at it. And that's just like her as a person. And Renee Moneymaker, like they're both my mentors. Like I look to them for advice and for guidance. So I feel like, and then I feel like too, now that you're asking me this question, like I could also do better in giving back to females and like starting to build a better foundation for women coming into stunts, because it is hard to find women with like just a hardcore, like just a martial arts background, and to just have that natural body language when they fight. It's beautiful that everybody's coming from like different worlds and realms. It would just be nice to help push like the fighting style and skills like a little more. To then back it up on why certain people should be a part of the team. And then there's also just badass women already out there that are just being overlooked. Because I love it when I'll hear about a team or something like, oh, we couldn't find somebody for this person. I'm like, there are so many girls out there and available right now. So it's all over the place. I feel like people can step it up, and then the question that you're asking, and then adding people to the team. Like if everybody does that at once, then you'll see more of it.
It'll get better.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much again.
He's like,
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I'm so grateful to have you here, and I think I learnt a lot out of this podcast, and I'm definitely going to implement a lot of those tools. I've got to listen back to everything so I can write it all down.
I know, let me know what I said so I can remember too.
But yes, thank you very much appreciated. And can you tell us where to find you on Instagram? Or
Oh, that's easy. Niche Nation, all day.
Nation.
If I could put Niche Nation, actually, I should change my credits in films to Niche Nation.
Definitely check her out.
Check me out.
She has amazing, fun stuff on Instagram, and just a great person to know and be around, and so grateful. And thank you for
I appreciate
your
you.
energy and all your knowledge for the Fight Creative podcast.
Hey, let's go!